All right, let's wrap up with the final exercise now, which is bringing together some of the skills we just used to create and modify attributes. So again, we're going to be using a new starting workspace here, so make sure you open that up. Let me find the path for that for you. So that would be here. I'll go ahead and open that myself. I was just using this sort of Scratch workspace earlier. That's not one that you need to worry about. Notice it is a different folder. It's the transform attributes folder. And we'll open up the exercise, create and modify attributes workspace, which is using the similar data that I was just playing around with the postal address. So what we have to do here is convert these addresses from geodatabase to Excel and map the schema. You can see if we expand this, the schema definitely does not match right now. We have all red attributes. So to manage the schema, let's add an attribute manager in between, and I'll open that up. So the first step is to remove the attributes we don't want. So that would be object ID, global ID, and you can control click to keep selecting these. There's a list of them in the exercise for the ones that don't appear on the output. So I'll control click those to select all of them and then hit the remove row button. That will remove those attributes. Then we have to do some renaming. So postal city is just going to go to city. And again, as you type, you should see the other suggestions come up based on looking forward to the writer and finding matching attribute names. This is basically just a case situation, though we're also removing postal, etc., which is why you could use something like a bulk attribute rename or something, but it's not really worth it when it's just a few attributes like this and they have slightly different requirements. So we can just do it manually like this. So those are now renamed. And then we'd like to create a new attribute called provider. So I'll add that in by clicking the add new attribute section. And looking ahead, we can see that it exists on the writer. So I'll click that to fill it in. And then for the value in this case, we'll do a static value. So we're just going to type in save software because we are in this way the provider of the data. So that's an example of creating a static value, a constant value. Then we'll create one that uses one of the editors. So I'll click in here and put in update date, which again is appearing on the writer schema. And for this one, I will use the text editor. So I'll click the drop down to go to the text editor, and then I'll go to the date time functions, and I'll choose date time now. Double click that to insert it. That will insert a FME formatted date time string for the time when the workspace runs. And click OK. Additionally, if we look ahead, let me click OK and just look ahead, we have an owner's attribute on the destination schema, whereas we have owner name 1 and owner name 2 in the source data. So we'll have to concatenate those together. And again, you could use an attribute, but we're mostly, or sorry, a different transformer. We're mainly just using the attribute manager here. So I'll go ahead and make a new attribute called owners. And I will open the text editor. And we'd like to put in owner name 1 and a space and owner name 2. And you might notice if some of the values don't have a value for owner name 2, that will create a trailing space in our results, which isn't ideal. So we could use the trim functions like I was showing earlier. Why don't we use trim right, which will remove that space if there isn't a value for the second owner. So I can add trim right and close that parentheses like that. So that'll add owner name 1 space and owner name 2. And it will trim off any extra white space on the right of the string. So if owner name is empty, then it will trim off that extra space there. And then to show you again how the order matters, let's say we want to remove the owner name 1 and 2 now. Well, we have to make sure we're calculating this and creating this owners attribute before we do that. So let's move this up in the order, and we can move it down to right before owner name 1 and 2. And then we can change these to remove because we won't need them after we've created the owners attribute. Click OK. We'll see most of our things are lined up now. We can run to this on the attribute manager and have a look to make sure that everything looks like we expect. There probably would be a little bit more work to do with these other ones, but we're just going to leave it there. And you can see, oh, did I miss address? No, that's supposed to be like that, apparently. So we've got city, province, country, postal code, provider. Update date, you can see, has put in a date timestamp. And owners, let's see if we make that a bit bigger. Do we have anyone with 2? Yeah, so here's one with 2 where they've been appended with a space. So there's just bringing all those different procedures together, in this case doing it all with the attribute manager, just to show you how you can manipulate your attributes. So go ahead and wrap that up. You can do that exercise for the last 10 minutes of the class here, and we'll finish on time around 1.